Welcome to the PCVue Podcast series. My name is Michel Kakos. I'll be your host for this edition. A quick bio on me. I'm an automation engineer. I've got 32 years of experience in control and SCADA systems. I'm also responsible for PCVue business development in North America. Today's guest is Patrick Dextraze, founder and president of Idexpac Automation. Patrick, welcome to the PCVue Podcast series.
Welcome.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, Patrick?
I'm an electrical engineer with a specialty in automation, and I did my first industrial automation projects 30 years ago. It was a flat steel hole punching line with using a PLC, a drive, and a 4-line text interface to operate the machine. 2 years later, I joined one of the first company who developed a soft PLC program. It was based on real-time OS, and we used that technology to control liquid yeast system delivery in several bakery and for various process and yeast plants too.
Yeah, I have to admit, we go a while back, you and I, we worked at the same company doing these liquid yeast control systems. It was quite a fun time, and it gives a bit our age that you mentioned, a 4-line LED display that you don't see a lot anymore. Could you tell us a little bit about Idexpac Automation? You started your own company, you have an integration system company, so can you tell us a bit about what Idexpac does?
Our mission is to use OpenSoft PLC control system to unlock the full potential of automation for our customers. We serve different industries, sectors. We have some clients including muffin and cookie batter manufacturer, aircraft test cell builder. I have another company is doing manufacturers and refurbish of salient water pole for generator, big electrical generator. Also have some of my customers doing carbon overlay welding on piece of metal, and many others companies.
Yeah, so you have different market types. You're not focused on a specific vertical market, which is good. And the other question I have, because you created the company about close to 25 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. You're president, you grew the company. What typically would be your main activities? What are your responsibilities as president? Because I assume you do a lot, but can you tell us a little bit, what is a typical day or a typical week for Patrick as president of Idexpac?
As a president of a small company, I have many hats. So I'm doing some administrative tasks of billing and stuff like that, and recruiting my employees and doing sales as the administration side.
Mm-hmm.
And I also stay closely involved in the customer projects, including system design, engineering, even programming and system startup, and sometimes maintenance too. So I do a lot.
And since it's your company, it's your name, I guess you do a lot of quality control overall that gets installed at your customers, and also, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah. You're a long-time user of PCVue. From the day one when the Idexpac started, I remember you were using PCVue and you used it in many projects. Can you give an example or the kind of applications where you've used PCVue in your systems?
My first application, it was for aircraft engine test cell. And the key feature of those systems is their ability to test many type of engines of different models and different manufacturer. So, which means the HMI needs to adapt to each engine. So with different model, the HMI need to be adapted to every engine. And also for that type of project, that data acquisition and the I/O calibration it was a requirement for those applications.
And so I thought you had finished, but specifically on that project, as you mentioned, the HMI needs to adapt. I guess you also did part of the control, so the HMI had to know the engine, and the screens would change according to what engine was installed and all that. So it was a kind of a flexible system, I would say, that you installed there?
Yes, it was very flexible, and it was also distributed. They have not just one HMI, they have maybe 3 to 4 HMI, and they have to communicate between, because one guy is giving the power to the engine, and the other guy is reading the monitoring what's
Reading
happening,
the data.
the
Yeah.
temperature, the speed, and
Mm.
stuff like that. So it need a lot of flexibility.
Okay. That's it. Do you have other examples where
Yeah,
PCV is
I have
installed? Yeah.
another example also. Our largest PCV project is it's at a frozen bakery
Okay.
product manufacturer. They're doing muffin, cakes, and cookies, and even nutrition bar and stuff like that. In this application, we have HMI at the mixer. We have also HMI at the packing line in another floor. And also they have HMI in the office to define the ingredient, to create the recipes, and to plan the production.
Okay, so there's a batch system where you define the recipes and you manage all the recipes of the
Yeah.
products. And then,
So
okay.
it PCVue in that case was all abroad the company everywhere.
Mm.
So and so we did also just machine HMI. So we have two machines in the refurbishment manufacturing salient
Mhm.
protocol, and they need a precise temperature control, and they need recording throughout the full cycle of the process. So we were using a PCVue in that type of installation role too. Yeah.
Excellent. Quick question, coming back to the project, you mentioned muffins and cakes and any kind of food products.
Yes.
Did you have to prepare for your customers any kind of, quality reports or, I assume they want to make sure that the product has passed all the quality tests and
Yeah.
screenings and it all goes out well. Was that something that you had to integrate in your applications, all the quality and checks and verifications of the product, or it's not something that is involved with the PCV product?
We implemented a tracking system in their application. The operator can scan or write down the tracking number of all the ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
and they keep that in the database. So after the production, or maybe couple months after, if they have a recall about bad ingredient or some problem with the ingredient, they have a tracking number, and they can recall
Mm.
the batch they send over their customer.
Okay, you have the genealogy essentially of the batch you made, all the raw ingredients, is everything's tracked essentially to determine the cause of. Okay, that's good. Now, you're a system integrator. You started from one person. You grew the company. You had employees. What would you say would be the main challenges when you onboarded new SCADA developers? Because for the audience listening to us, I also had my integration system company. I know that it can be a challenge to master and to work with all the different development environments out there, PLCs, MES, SCADA. There's so many of them. So in your case, what were the main challenges when you had new employees and you had to onboard them with PCVue and to learn about your project? How did you manage that?
Getting new developers productive is essential. With PCVue, and even with just basic knowledge of drawing software like Paint, Photoshop, or GIMP, a developer can start producing HMI screens within the first weeks with a quick overview training, and he can produce some HMI screen and be productive.
I know that PCVue, for having used it myself, has some great strengths in getting the ability to new developers to quickly produce,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
develop the graphics, the communications, any kind of script. That's good to hear. So that's reassuring for our listeners that it doesn't take a long time to onboard new developers in PCVue. And other aspects of your business and all integration businesses is support. In many cases, plant applications that run SCADA systems will run 24/5 or 24/7. So how did you manage giving support to your customers like that? Because I guess you have to set up your staff and the hotlines to be able to support your applications. But what was the reality for Idexpac of supporting application which runs 24/7?
Most of our customers don't operate 24/7.
Okay.
But we provide support through a simple remote access. And most of the issue we encounter are external,
Yeah.
like firewall setting, Windows updates, or broken touchscreen, stuff like that. So we don't have very big issue with PCVue.
Okay.
It's rarely the problem. The problem
Yeah.
is over
Yeah,
some
and sometimes I guess the problem might be an equipment that fails,
yeah,
a sensor that becomes bad, and
uh,
obviously they typically call the integrator, but yeah, that's the nature of the beast, I guess.
yes.
Um, if it's a more general type of question, less oriented towards PCV, it's more of a process that your customers went through. For example, when you large SCADA project that you did, your customers, let's imagine they were a paper-based system. They didn't have any SCADA system at all, and they with your intervention, now they have a SCADA system in their plant. Can you talk a little bit about if you know why they did that? Is it because they were tired of having papers all over the plant floor to do? So what prompted them? What exercise did they do to decide, yeah, I need a SCADA system?
Just like you said, if I take my bakery customer, they have a wide variety of ingredient and over of 100 recipes. It was too complex manually to manage that. The supervisor have to prepare the production sheet every day and produce a list of ingredient, required ingredient for the next day. And on the floor, the operator follow the production sheet and track the ingredient for traceability and stuff like that.
Right.
SCADA automate all that, so
Yeah.
that's a really a good a good advantage for that.
The pain points would have been having papers for everything, no traceability, like you mentioned, of what's going on. So the SCADA, obviously, actually, it does that. So that would have implied, some changes to the operations on the plant floor. So employees that were used to taking a batch sheet or a cook sheet or whatever they were doing, paper-based, punching some, and they move over to a fully digitalized system. So did you feel any kind of resistance from the employees, especially those that were doing what they were doing for 10, 15 years with paper? Now suddenly these fancy new screens arrive with the software. Did you feel any resistance to this change, this big change in production process?
But when the system reduce their workload, so they usually no resistance. For example, in other application, I have a drum welding application. In the plant, there's other machine and that require the operator to be sit in front of the machine and monitor the process all the time, and be sit in front and monitor that. And with our SCADA system, the operator just that to set the parameters, start the machine, and run unattended all day. They only need to sometimes watch the warning light and for alerts like, oh, there's no more welding wire. So he just, not he don't care anymore with this type of machine, but he don't have to be all the time over in front of the machine.
Yeah. One question regarding that, you mentioned it, operators, and in your various projects, what I found is that over the years, if you engage the people that are going to be using the system in the design process, it makes the adoption easier. For example, you're going to design screens that are going to be near a process or a machine or a mixer or whatever. If you talk to the people that are going to be using it and you hear them, it makes the adoption easier. Have your customers did that kind of engagement of the operators in the design process, or was it more with the I don't know, the engineering manager or the production manager that
No,
the screens?
no, we talk with the operator all the time. So when we design the screen, we put the new screen in front of them. We ask them, it's it okay
You
for
got
you?
feedback
Or
from them, yeah.
sometimes, oh, this button should be not at this place because I have to push this button, and if this one is near this, it would be easier. So we do the change for them. So I had one of the employee, they put a button, an exit button, and you change it on the screen from one screen to the other. The operator say, no, put the exit button every time at the same place. So we do our best to have them
Participate. Yeah.
Yeah, participate and be and to be happy with the results. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's crucially important for any integrator listening to this podcast, that you engage your customers, operators, those that are going to be using the system into the design process, because it makes the adoption of the system much easier, much better, I would say.
Yeah.
Imagine I'm a owner of a bakery, or one of your customer types that make muffins and cakes and pies and that kind of stuff. A food product producer that is listening to you, what you did, Patrick. If you could compare the before and after. So if you can give us an example before, you're the supervisor, you have to write the batch in the morning, and you're the operator, you walk around the plant with your papers. Okay, if you could describe the before and now, what's the difference, for example? Do they simply go into the plant, go on a screen, log in, and okay, this is what I'm going to be doing today? Can you give a before and after of what the processes were in that plant before and after the SCADA system was installed?
Yeah. With that, the bakery plant, it was all handmade production. So they had to write down the ingredient list in Excel files and stuff like that. And during production, the operator had to write down the tracking number on a piece of paper and bring the paper to the office, and a clerk in the office put them in Excel files. And now everything is automatic. So the SCADA system generate the ingredient list for the planner, and just in a second he put his planning production into the system and push the button, get me the ingredient, he get the list and print it. It's in a couple of seconds you got it. And after that, with the tracking number in the system, they can do the search for the tracking really is easier. And the productor, the operator, is getting to next the mixer, and you have all the day what you need to do, and just start the strawberry muffin, and all the ingredient coming into the mixer. You don't have to you get all the list of the ingredient, and you can make ingredients and stuff like that. So
in that case, would you say, I just thought of a question, I didn't want to cut you off, but in that case, did you also have automation of the material handlers? For example, before they need to go carry pails around and put the products manually in the mixers, like the flour, the water, the oils, or now all those materials are automatically delivered to the mixers?
Most of the material, but sometimes they have some spicy stuff like that. They don't need a big
smaller volumes.
That it's just a scoop and stuff like that. So those ingredients, we call them the minor ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a system that taking care of that, but they put the scoop in the vacuum, and they deliver the minor ingredient.
The small material adds would be done manually. Okay, I understand.
But if I think for the bakery, they put the egg into the water tank, the water delivery tank. So and they mix with the water. So this part is manual with the egg, because they don't automate the delivery of the eggs, but they have to put it in the fridge and stuff like that. So they prefer to have it manual.
Perishable items is a bit more complicated in some cases. If I take that customer, that the muffin and the bakery customer, if I was to ask that customer, and imagine I'm asking, I don't know, the production manager or the planner or somebody that looks at the overall efficiency of the processes, and if I would ask that person, what's the major gain that they had before and after? So now they have a SCADA system, like with the advantages you mentioned. What's the main gain they would say they got?
Yeah, it's the productivity. It's the biggest gain, because when they were manually, they used to produce about six batch a day, around 4,000 kilogram of product.
Mm-hmm.
And now they can produce 15 to 18 batch a day. It's about 30,000 kilogram of product. And
with the same staff?
In the same time, in 10 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
So they do more than three times the manual.
Okay. So would you attribute this this increased in productivity to, yes, the system, but is it because they could have the same staff? No, they didn't need to hire anybody additional to make that additional products. Would that be the cause, essentially, Patrick, that the automation, the SCADA, allowed the same headcount on the plant floor to do much more than they would be able to do before?
Yes, it was the same amount, but they had some other products, so they have to hire some employees for
Sure.
the cookie or stuff like that. So because at the starting, this company was doing mostly muffin dough, but they start to
They
do
diversified
cookies
other
and
products.
bar and stuff like that. So they
Okay.
increase the company after that.
Would you say, because it's something that we hear sometimes, is switch over from you're making, I don't know, blueberry muffins, and then you have to switch over to another product, cookies, for example. Would you say that the digitization, the SCADA they implemented would shorten that switch over time compared to before?
Yeah, and then in their case, they have nearly 100 different recipes. So yes, they can do a muffin, strawberry muffin, but they do carrot muffin and stuff like that, and they can do it the same day,
So they're more agile.
nearly the same hour. Have one batch of carrot muffin, and after that, he can do the strawberry muffin, or you can do pudding cake. You do a lot of product on the same line.
Okay. Quick question. You may not have that number, but I'm still going to ask it. Did your customer come back to you with an ROI? Was he able to say, okay, the SCADA system that we implemented cost us X, and it was essentially paid back after 6 months, a year, 2 years? Do
No,
you have any idea?
he didn't tell to us.
No, okay. We don't often have that number, but
Secret,
sometimes you get it. Okay. If you look at the future, because you're a long time SCADA installer, like I said, you've done a lot of projects with PCVue, so you've seen the market evolve since you started your company 25 years ago. If you look in the future, what major changes would you expect the SCADA market to implement? We've all heard AI and that kind of stuff, but what is your take on the future of SCADA?
I think database querying will be much more accessible. We won't need to spend hours writing and testing SQL commands.
Mm-hmm.
It take a lot of time to doing that, but AI also will speed up report generation and stuff like that, and IO trends analysis.
Yeah.
I think it will be easier with that, and also HMI design would be faster. Imagine just telling your SCADA, hey, PCVue, give me a button connected to motor A, motor B,
Yeah.
and valve C, justify to left, and in the middle of my screen, everything appears.
Yeah, I think that's a great example because my next question was AI technology, and you just gave a good example. I was going to ask, have you seen yourself, your staff, use AI? Because we know that you can ask AI engines to generate code to do some small tasks. Obviously, you can't ask AI to generate a full SCADA system, but have you started using that to generate a code for whatever small portion of the scripting that you need to do in your SCADA system, or not quite yet?
It was maybe 5 years ago, but 2 years ago, my customer asked me to run that script on his new Windows 10 PC, but VB script was no more supported with Windows 10. So I asked AI to convert my VB script to Python script. He did, but I had to rewrite some part of it.
Yeah, you had to tweak it
But
afterwards, but it did most.
yeah, but he gave me a quick start on this. I think last week I asked AI, hey, how can I change my PC variable quickly, and told me the recipe, and I did. So yeah, I think it helped us a lot. Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be something to watch for in the next few years, because I'll give you an example. What you gave as an example, put a button in the middle of screen which is connected to variable XYZ. If the SCADA could do that, it would facilitate screens. And I think For our listeners, if you look at some of the engines out there, I'm working on a big project for bus depots. And I asked ChatGPT, can you draw me, a screen that shows a bus depot for 50 buses? And a good prompt, and it generated the image within a few seconds, and it was actually surprisingly good. So if they could integrate something like that in a SCADA system where you already have your objects defined and your small images. That would be something that would be pretty cool to see in the future of generating your screens by voice prompt. That would be
Yes,
something nice, yeah.
yes, it will be. Well,
So,
yeah.
anything else you want to add, Patrick, in closing regarding your experience as a system integrator with PCVue?
Uh, I've been using that PCVue for
Yeah, it's
nearly
fun.
25 years. So I did try some other basic HMI, and even the customer tell me, "Oh, the size of the screen is too small with that. So can you do better?" Yeah, I switched to PCVue and I did better. No, I like the product.
Thank you very much, Patrick Dextraze, founder and president of Idexpac Automation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye.